YouTubers, I'm in my garage. I wanted to show you something for anyone that's a motorcyclist. The one thing I learned is that if you have a tender for your motorcycle, that if it's running, even if it's a green light, what happens is that little bit of charge, you still get a little bit of charge to your battery. So like over in the winter, it's not such a big deal. Like, sorry for the light. It's not such a big deal for like the summer, but in the winter, you might go down and start your bike up maybe, once a month. So it's bad. Sometimes it gets so brutally cold, and you're working, so therefore, you're not going to go down and start up your bike. So what I did was, because of the long times that your bike can sit, what happens is it just gives a little bit of electricity into your battery. It's continuous. Now there are new new tenders out there that shut off, like they just totally shut off, like after the battery's charged, they shut off, and then as the battery starts to lose its charge, the charger comes on, and then it charges up the battery, and then it connects. But I thought I have a good battery tender or charger for anybody who doesn't understand what a tender is. I'm sure most do. I'm not trying to make people out to be stupid, okay? So what I did was, and I'll show you here. Give me a second. I'll show you what I did. Okay, right there is my tender. And you can see it's charging. And you see the little green light. It's a flashing. Okay, what I did is I put a timer. And why I did that for is so I think I put it at every 3 hours, and then like at night it goes off like maybe 4 or 5 hours. So what happens is every 3 hours there's no power to this at all, and then every 3 hours it kicks on I'll let it stay on for about 2 hours, and then some spots I'll let it just stay on for an hour, and some spots and let it stay on for 3 hours. And what I was doing was, what I found out, sorry about that, what I found out was that last year I had this tender on with no timer, and it basically killed the battery. What it did was, it just kept charging. Yes, I have a computer in this. This is like, we'll say the basic model computer. This computer is constantly running, but not at a high voltage. It's like milliamps. It's really, really small. It might be even let me say it. My cerebral palsy's kicking in here a little bit. It's minimum volts. So it's not much. But here's the thing. Even like, I got a Toyota Camry out there, a 2000 Camry. And it's basically the same setup as this motorcycle when it comes to computer. It controls, well, that one has a little bit more, and this one does the same thing. It controls the fuel. It's got a fuel map sensor in it and all that, so that does that. But that kind of stuff doesn't really work until like, you're running the bike. But what does run constantly is the computer has to have power, so it checks things. And on this bike, it has anti-lock brakes, it has fuel injection, and so it constantly has to run. Not a lot of power, but let's say you let it sit for a month or two. If you let that car sit out there for 2 months, no charger, you don't start it up, it will die. You can do an experiment. Get a car, a 2000, anything. that has fuel injection, airbags, anti-lock brakes, and what a good battery and what a good charge system. And you'll find out real quick if you let it sit for 2 weeks in cold weather and 2 weeks in real hot weather. You'll find out real quick how fast that battery will die, or it cranks really slow. So this is why I did this. And even though I'm going to need to get a new battery, the battery life has already been better. So that's what I did. I put a $6 timer on it, and I haven't had any issues before. It would be like, you'd have to start it once and run it for a real long time, at least 60, 70 miles before you could start it, shut it off, and start it up again. And you couldn't shut it off again because it would barely start. Now it's not such a problem, but I still need to get a new battery. My battery with most BMWs is underneath the gas tank. I got to do a brake fluid flush, and I want to get new brake pads for my bike. So they have to take the tank off, and I just think, well, I don't want to do it because if you see up here, that's my reservoir, and if you see on my bike, you can't really see, but my bike leans. It leans a lot to that side, so you have to get something to catch it, and I just rather they got a lift and they can prop it up, center or to the right where it won't get on the paint or on anything. If I had a lift, I'd do it. So that's why I'm not doing it. I'm gonna probably just put brake pads on the back. It needs brake pads on the back. It's not terrible. It's not, I can still ride, but it needs to be changed, and the brake fluid needs to be changed too. So with that, I just figured I'd let you guys know about that. It works really good. So, it's all up to you. You can decide yay or nay. I'm just telling you my experiences. All right, there you go.